and welcome to Members on the Mic with the Troy Chamber of Commerce, where we connect with Troy Chamber members as they give us a glimpse into their company and share some of the business lessons they've learned along the way. Hi, everyone. I'm Tara Thompson-Cusack, President and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined today by the amazing co-host and Vice President of the Chamber, Sheila Denstead.
Hi, everyone.
First, I'd like to take a moment to thank our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. Stay tuned for our very first commercial break, where you can learn how you can rely on Trion. So Sheila, we have a fun guest ahead of us today. Why don't you do some intros?
I would love to. Thank you. Today, we have the pleasure of meeting with Toussaint Carpenter. Toussaint is the president of CMIT Solutions of Northwest Metro Detroit, where he helps small and mid-sized businesses leverage technology to stay secure, efficient, and competitive. With over a decade of experience in systems engineering and product development at Ford Motor Company, he brings a unique mix of technical expertise and strategic leadership to IT services space. At CMIT, his focus goes beyond transitional or traditional, however you look at it, traditional support, acting as a virtual CIO, CTO, and COO to align technology with business goals. He is passionate about strengthening the Troy business community through collaboration, innovation, and proactive cybersecurity. Outside of work, he is committed to continuous learning, personal fitness, and connecting with like-minded individuals. Toussaint, welcome.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Don't you enjoy hearing all of you in one giant paragraph?
Yeah, it's weird. It's the first time I think I've been introduced on anything. So.
It's cool to be an overachiever. It's fine. So obviously we've gotten to know you over the past few months, and obviously we know the great things that you're doing. But can you tell our audiences a little bit about CMIT Solutions of Northwest Metro Detroit and how it's going to contribute to the business community in Troy?
Yeah, so it's basically a new expansion from the home headquarters, which is out in Austin. It's a franchise brand's been around for 29 years, and it originated from a lady who actually started it out in Austin. Used to be called Computer Moms. The main goal here is to, So,
I was like, we didn't know that.
Right,
That's see, you just gave us a new nugget.
Right, yeah. So it was pretty interesting that it was a woman-run, and now it's 250 or so locations, almost 200 or so owners across the United States. And the goal is to utilize that national reach, but bring it to the local support in that area. So that's why we have somebody that's going to be able to talk to the business owners face-to-face, ideally, and give them that level of intimacy that they probably wouldn't get from a larger corporation.
Yeah. So it kind of has, you have the resources from the larger headquarters, but you actually have the personability and the conversations that you can actually have with a real person.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, exactly.
And that is so important in what you do. IT is essential for companies of all sizes, we know that. But can you explain how small and mid-sized Troy businesses can use technology to compete with some of those larger companies?
I think the main thing is that small and medium-sized businesses don't have the same budget as the larger organizations, and so they need the managed services as a transition, because it's typically about a half to a third the cost of hiring somebody internally to manage your devices and things like that, and email accounts, so on and so forth. I think a lot of times the small business owners actually need it a lot more because they don't want to have to deal with all those technological issues on a day in, day out basis. A lot of them spend time on their business. They don't want to spend time in it, right? So the goal is that they don't have to worry about it, and that's where we would come in and provide them that outsourced support, and we would basically take that off their plate and help them make a roadmap to help them grow as they continue to earn more business and develop.
So when you're talking about this, I know you and I have had some conversations around this. When you're meeting one-on-one with these businesses, are you able to help them identify some of the needs? Because I think a lot of times in IT, people don't really know what they're supposed to do or what their needs are. Are you able to kind of help people identify that?
Yeah, so typically we come in and I'll try to ask them generally about their business's goals and what they're trying to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years or so, their growth strategy and things like that, because that helps us determine what we might recommend to them. In addition to that, we usually have a checklist that we go through that it will kind of identify what their current IT infrastructure is. So what type of SaaS tools are they using? What type of email are they using? Are they getting things like phishing emails coming into them because they might not have protection in place? Do they have things like disaster recovery plans? Do they need to meet HIPAA compliance or CMC compliance and things like that? based off what their business is providing to the market. So that's kind of things that we look at when we talk to the business owners.
So it's not good that I get emails from myself.
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
Not a good idea. All right, everybody. I think this is a good moment to take a quick break and hear a word from our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. We'll be right back.
I'm Joe Vaccari, President and CEO of the Joe Vaccari Restaurant Group, which encompasses 24 restaurants throughout the country. With the addition of Trion, our general managers don't have to spend hours doing paperwork and putting people in our system. All that's done by Trion now, so they can work on what they are there to do, take care of our customers. That's why we rely on Trion.
You can always rely on Trion.
Welcome back to Members on the Mic with the Troy Chamber of Commerce. We are here with Toussaint, and we discussed a little bit about how companies use technology. So can you talk a little bit more now? Let's hop into that. We talked about my email, which,
Right.
Again, I probably shouldn't open my own email. That sounded weird, but you know what I mean. But that brings us to cybersecurity. So how do you think local businesses are protecting themselves, and how do you think they should be, I guess is the question.
How are they protecting themselves? That's a good question. I mean, you'd have to ask that business, but how they should, I think at the very least, is a whole nother thing. So obviously the biggest factor as it relates to cyber threats right now is phishing. Yeah. So that's usually because there's a lot of human error involved. People go to those emails like you were saying, and they click on something or they click other things, and it allows access. So you could be going to a website as well that somehow can get into your system. So one of the best ways is to actually do security awareness training. And then the other thing is, again, phishing protection that will go on your email accounts and stuff like that. Those are some of the best ROI to start off if the budget is tight and things like that. But then you might want to scale up from there at some point and have a lot of automation and AI involved that can kind of monitor a lot of different things and do a lot of remediations. And then some of the other key things are like making sure your devices are current or always up to date and patched and things like that, because it can reduce the amount of risks that are there, assuming you do anything wrong.
Well, Sheila, how do we do well at the
So one of the things I love the most about you, other than your amazing personality, is the fact that when you joined the chamber, you got involved. You got involved right away. And that's just something in my world that I love to see. Talk a little bit about how some of the partnerships you've created really can help a business grow, stay resilient, and continue to move forward.
Can you give me like an example?
Well, I know you've done a lot of one-on-ones and things like that, just learning from other members. Again, you've jumped right in.
I think it's just, I think the main thing has just been learning how everything flows, how the conversations go, how the events flow and things like that. It's been a little bit slow with getting the partnerships going, only because it's been a busy time of year. Yeah. But I am trying to work with a couple of people as it relates to, or like organizations within the chamber, as far as like getting tech support and things like that, getting techs that I can hire, working to find somebody else that I can hire to help me with sales and business development and things like that. So that's been pretty helpful so far. Other than that, I mean, I've also gotten leads and things like that, but I think just understanding some of the processes and how long it takes sometimes to, or just understanding some of the things that these businesses are going through, that they can't even have the conversation because they're so overwhelmed. You realize how busy a lot of these guys really are. So that's just been eye-opening. And I think also it's just been nice to really get out and just meet people and get to the different locales and venues for the different events, because I haven't seen that much of Michigan before until I started becoming an entrepreneur. And now I go to a different town every single day is what it seems like, in a different event. So that networking has just been refreshing for me, as opposed to being at a desk all day. And getting sunlight and things like that on a regular basis. So that's all I can say about that.
Well, and you're building partnerships even in conversations, because people sometimes don't know where to refer their business to. Right. So it's like when people start to see you more often, they're going to be like, oh, I did hear somebody was looking for that. So it's always nice being in front of that. But right. One thing you said, you're traveling to all different towns all over the place. What is your territory? So, because we have listeners that are outside of Troy as well. So what is your actual territory that you serve?
Yeah, so in general, it's Oakland County.
Okay.
But if we want to be more specific, it's Sterling Heights, Troy, Ferndale, Royal Oak, Southfield, Farmington area, Novi, Northville. So it's pretty the majority of Oakland County is what it boils down to.
So you definitely are traveling to seeing a lot of towns lately.
Yeah, so I'll be in Farmington. I'll be in Farmington soon, and then I'll be all over the place. Basically, is what it boils down to. Yeah.
Well, then I guess what advice do you have for business owners to better prepare for the future?
Yeah, I mean, I would say schedule a call is what it really boils down to. We can understand what your business is trying to achieve, and understand your budget and your concerns. The budget is typically 3 to 7%. As it relates to IT for a business's budget, for them to, stay
safe
basically. Yeah. So, depending on what that is, we can figure out what the best solution is for them. Give them a roadmap on what it takes to really get in the ideal space. But then we have a starting position where we can find for them that makes sense, and also can give them the opportunity to see the value in it and go from there.
So are you customizing things per client? Because I'm assuming most clients have different needs.
Yeah, it's definitely customized. I mean, obviously some things will be similar if you're in the same type of vertical, but otherwise, business owners have different issues. Some people that I work with, my a tailor, and he needs something that's more along the lines of making sure all his SaaS tools are able to integrate. So like his Calendly and his POS system and his work order system for his tailors and things like that. So it's very different. And then he's going to need some cybersecurity as well, but what he needs up front as like project work is a little bit different. So I'll put him in contact with a POS system. Somebody else might need a HIPAA gap assessment or something like that to start off. And then we could talk about managed services and cybersecurity measures after that, because we have to assess them. So, and then in that sense, I partner with a lot of different vendors that can help us provide services as needed.
That helps with the networking part.
And exactly.
So, thank you so much for being here today. I think your topic really resonates with a lot of our members because like the phishing and a lot of things going on. What's one thing you could leave our listeners with today, something they can look at right away to make sure they're keeping their selves safe and not sending monies to other countries and princes in Dubai and everywhere?
Yeah, check for, if we're talking about phishing, check for misspelling and weird verbiage and things like that. Like I said, cybersecurity awareness training is probably the best thing that they could possibly do, in front of getting all the other things in place. But that's a good place to start at the very least. So there's websites like CyberHoot, or those are vendors at least that provide that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, get online. You can get online, Google, ChatGPT, ask, like, how do I identify phishing, right?
Or they should call you.
Right, call me.
I was going to say.
And I'll give them even better.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, even better, rundown of exactly what they can do and what helps the most and where we can start for them and go from there.
I love it.
Could you, I apologize.
Yeah, no.
Could you set up a training program for them if they needed that?
A training program?
Cybersecurity training, making sure they're staying safe.
Yes, we have ways of doing that, yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's all we have here today for Members on the Mic with the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Toussaint, thank you so much for joining us. It's always good to see you.
Thank you.
Special shout out to our presenting sponsor, Trion Solutions. To learn more about the Troy Chamber of Commerce or for upcoming events, go to troychamber.com. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye-bye.